What is up, guys? Been getting a lot of questions about this last video that I made, my MacBook Air unboxing. Standard stuff, you know, people always ask me about what I shot with, color correction, music. So here's a little video going over it. Camera I use, Canon 60D like I always do. Use the 50mm f1.4 lens, which is kind of unusual for me to use that for an entire video. But since I had to go outside with it, I wanted to kind of limit the amount of gear because I had to carry all my stuff with me. So that's a light lens. It's easy to carry outside. And of course, it gives you that wicked depth of field that you see in a few of the shots. Like this crazy shot right here where I just racked the focus across the keyboard. You couldn't really do that without a lens with a super wide aperture. So the 50mm worked out great for me. Looking at the music, Nostalgic Pianos, the name of the track, came from the Apple Loops collection. So a lot of great stuff in there. Thing about this track, I think the original is close to like 3 minutes, which is too long for this style of video for me. You know, that would be a really long video. So what I did was I just basically cut the clip and then did it between two of the movements, so you don't really notice at all that the clip got cut and that it's actually like not the whole song. So it sounds good, made the song, you know, down to whatever it was, a little over a minute, and it really fit well. Funny thing, this wasn't the original song I had for this video. I had a little more upbeat song, and that actually made me have to slow down some of the footage. So some of this footage you see here, like this little dolly shot, for example, this is actually slowed down with optical flow, so it's a smooth, slower motion. And it's not slowed down much, maybe to like 70% or so, and that's so it matched the flow of the music a little bit better. Let's go ahead and check out the color correction. People have been asking about that as well. Get on a good shot. I'll use this one. So 2 layers of color correction, which is pretty standard for me. We'll turn them both off so you can see what it looks like. Here's the raw footage. Obviously it's super flat, shot with the Technicolor picture style, which of course gives you that high amount of range, so you're getting both shadows and highlights, and it's a little desaturated. But the cool thing about it, though, is that it gives you the most leeway in post-production when you go to do color correction stuff. So first correction I did, basically a contrast correction, and cooled up the colors a little bit. You can see just slightly, and take a look at what this looks like. So basically just brought down the shadows, brought up the midtones and the highlights just a tad, and it added that the correct kind of contrast in there really, and got rid of a lot of that flatness, made the image pop a lot. But it also, I think when I was kind of looking at it, the image looked, I don't know, I just didn't really like the overall colors of it yet, so I did a second correction. And this is not it, this is the first correction. I did this correction. Okay, so basically this correction, what I was going for, it was storming, it was dark. I wanted to add kind of a rough organic feel because of all that wood that you see on the table, and to kind of match that kind of gloom of the storm. So really gloomy retro is kind of what I was going for with it, and I was overall happy with how it turned out. We can take a look at it. You can see, you know, up the saturation there on the midtones a little, but more importantly in the color, I took both the shadows and the midtones and brought them over to the cool side of things, and really happy with the overall look and how it turned out. It actually turned out a lot better than I thought. And this is one of those things, when I first did the correction, I didn't like it, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought it was pretty cool. Some other things, you'll notice that all this is in a compound clip. I don't do this until the end when I do make the final color correction kind of stuff. When I'm actually editing, I have it all broken out into separate clips, and that's so I can, you know, with a video like this, I had to match the music and things. So that's why you actually see some of these markers here on the music track. That's just to help me with where the beat's at, so I know when to change the clip. But of course, it's convenient to color correct an entire compound clip, but you can't get yourself into trouble doing that. This is a perfect example. It's a pretty short clip, so it didn't bother me too bad here. But you can see this is probably underexposed for sure. And when we take off the correction, you can see a lot more details there in the blacks and in the shadows than you could see when it was on. And of course, the way you can always see if your stuff's underexposed, you can bring up the video scopes. But I mean, obviously you can just look at it too. So if we look at the Luma here, you can see on this clip this giant spike that is below 0 on the histogram. I mean, that's obviously saying that all that stuff is lost in the black. So when we take the corrections off here, you can see now that spike's on the other side of 0. Still a very dark shot since there's this huge spike here on the lower end of the histogram. But it's above 0 at least. So that means you're still able to see those kind of details in it. So probably if this was longer, I would have gone to that individual sequence and made changes to it at the lowest possible level. But since it was so short, it didn't really bother me, and it was it was worth it. Kind of just make sure all the aesthetics of the whole timeline really matched. So there we go. That's this video. And hopefully you guys, who are into seeing this kind of stuff, got something out of it. As always, welcome to leave me comments, questions below, and I will talk to you guys next time. Later.